And that's how you build a tree house. I mean, a tree house for a squirrel. Squirrel house for a tree. I don't know why they call it birdseed, because it works perfectly good for squirrels as well, and pretty good for humans. It's just, you gotta try it. 3 years ago, our dog George found a tiny baby squirrel crying in the grass in our backyard. We put them in a box and tried to return them to the spot where George found the squirrel, but their parents didn't come back for them, so we nursed them overnight and tried to keep them going, kept them warm. And in the morning, we found Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Center in Longmont, Colorado. Shout out. And they took this squirrel in, nursed them back to health, and that fall they brought them home to us with 2 new baby friends in this little wooden box house. And this is where they've been living for the past 3 years, but now it's falling apart, it's dilapidated, it's weathered, and we need to play Mr. Beast of Beasts and give them the home that they've always dreamed of and deserved. A brand new upgrade. Here I started planning by drawing the existing house, and then I took measurements so that I could have a good starting place to work from. Took those measurements down, drew up some plans, and here's my finished drawing of the existing structure. I'm up at the top of our tree house, designing and building a squirrel mansion for our squirrel friends that live in our front yard. Their current home is starting to weather and break down, so we'll be building a new one for them today. Let me know if you would also like to see some videos about this tree house and the process. It's still a work in progress, so we'll put that together. I'm just using some scrap wood that we had laying around. This is a 3/4 inch plywood. A nice piece of plywood, but it is not pressure treated, and we can finish it to be a little more weather resistant. I have some other ideas that I will put in there later. And here is our design. It's going to be, this is the original design. I just took the measurements off of our current tree house. It was given to us by Greenwood Rehabilitation Center. And this is the new one. It's going to be a little bit taller in the back, 10 inches taller in the back, 7 up front. The original one's 7, so I can fit a little shelf in there, so that there's a two layer, better for nesting. And here I have my designs for each one of the panels, front wall, back wall, front wall, the shelf, 2 side walls, the roof, and the floor. So the roof and the floor are going to be 24 inches and 24 inches wide. Roof is going to be a little bit longer than the floor to account for that slope. So the roof is going to be 12 1/4 by 24, and the floor will be 10 by 24. Now this scrap wood that I have is 23 7/16. So it's a little bit short, but we'll use it. We'll just count that as our 24. And then it's good for our 2 measurements of 10 and 12.5. Just have to cut off a little bit at the end there. So let's mark this up and cut the roof and the floor. Using my circular saw for these straight cuts, and I'm going to be using this other panel of wood that I use for a straight edge to help me guide and stay along that straight line while I'm making my cut. So to do that, I take a measurement of my circular saw. It's not plugged in currently, and from this edge to the saw blade, it's about 1 1/4 inch. So I'm going to make another measurement on my board that is 1 1/4 over from where my cut is going to be on both ends. 1 1/4. And that is where I'm going to line my guide board up and clamp it. Right to that line I marked on either side, and hold it in place. Right now, I can see that where it's going to cut is right where I need it to cut. Let that cut fall. More project panels that were left over that are just big enough for both the back wall and the front wall. The back wall is going to be 10 inches by 16 inches and the front wall is going to be 7 inches by 16 inches, allowing for that slope. So let's make those cuts. For the side walls, I'm just going to cut one 10-inch piece out of the scrap panel that I have. It's a little longer than we'll need, and then I will cut the two side walls out of that 10-inch chunk. Since I don't have a hole saw that is 3 inches, I'm going to use my drill to start a pilot hole, and then I will use that hole as a starting point for my jigsaw. Right on the edge of the line, we'll drill a pilot hole. That gives us a place for that jigsaw blade to fit through. I used a 3/8 inch drill bit, but whatever size you have that will fit your blade. I can put my blade right through there and start cutting my circle. We got everything cut out. It's time to start putting it together. And I'm going to use these 2.5 inch galvanized finishing nails. Galvanized works well for outdoor applications because they don't rust over time, the elements. And so I have my floor here, sidewall, back wall, front wall. I'm just hoping something like that. I'm going to get it all together because it's about to fall down. But what we can do, take a little trip from Rustic David's YouTube channel. Thank you, Rustic David, for this tip.
Who's
if you don't
David?
have Rustic David is a woodworker.
Is that you?
It's not me. It's not me.
What?
It is someone else, and they gave this tip. You don't have a clamp for doing a butt joint. And draw a line just so we know how thick that board is going to be, and then we can drive nails through there. Do the same thing on this side. I'm going to dull the tip tip of the nail a little bit. A sharp nail is going to force its way in and pry the wood apart, potentially split it, but a dull nail or a rod-headed nail will actually tear through the board and prevent the splitting from happening. So this is going to be on this side. This is going to be our other side, and I'm going to start the nail out here.
Dad, where's your measuring tape? Because I need it.
Put
And I need a pencil.
1, 2, 3 nails in. I can use my pencil.
But I need your measuring.
It's down in that bin downstairs. I can get it for you. Alright, so we'll just start the nails this flat and stable. Just until we get it through the other side. It's just sticking out barely on the other side. Just about there. Alright, so for the 90 on that butt joint, for our back wall, we can take this board, put it up to the edge there. So got 2 clamps here. Clamp this block down at the edge. I'll put this up. It's there. And I will clamp it. This direction. So that totally stable there. It's nice and tight. See what that looks like. So I've got my 2 clamps. This one is tying it to the workbench, and this one is tying the sidewall to this block, which is attached to the back wall. So as we hammer that in, it's not going to move at all. First butt joint done. That's going to be our sidewall and the back one. So I messed up and hammered the sidewalls, the floor part of the sidewalls onto the back like that on either side, and it's actually supposed to be oriented like that, so that the slant is on the top. Just got distracted while I was recording, so I had to back that out, and then I'm going to now nail it on appropriately. I labeled back, and on the inside I also labeled back, floor, front, and lid, just so I don't mess it up again. Now for the front wall. Oh yes, let me show you. The sides on there. This is our shelf that's going to go in there. It's just kind of stabilizing when I mark up our side walls. See exactly where this is going to lay. On the inside for just a visual. Looking at where the edge here. So going through that way. now that we have our 4 walls up and together, there's a little bit of splitting going on. We could have taken care of that a little better with the just pre-drilling some holes, but yeah, I'm just trying to do this quick and easy. This is plywood, so if you get in between those plies, those little panels, it's easy to split because they're just glued together. So it's coming undone on those glue seams a little bit, but this will still last a long time once it's all nailed together. So next up, I'm going to put this shelf in here. I'm going to do it up against the front, kind of like that. And I'm just going to build up a little stack of wood to support it while I am nailing it in place. So I'll just lay that down, that one, and maybe one more piece. And that'll give me about a 3-inch gap under there for the squirrels to nest under. Our shelf is in there. Take the part off. Get rid of those little stands. Helping us out. And then we've got a nice 3-inch shelf there off the floor. 3-inch gap so they can tuck under there on their little babies. Sit up here. They'll have 2 different little stations right inside the door there. So now there's only 2 pieces left to put on, the floor and the roof. And I'm going to drill a couple holes in the floor just to give it a little drainage opportunity for any liquid that ends up in there. And then we'll attach that and attach the roof. Before I finish up and put the roof on, I am quickly going to attach the mounting board that will sit against the tree. So the house will be attached to this board, and then we can attach it to the tree. So I'm going to find a midpoint. Up at the bottom, nowhere to line it up at the top. And then I'm just going to have these strong tie hex screws. I had some leftovers of. Really good for fastening. And I'm just going to drive a couple of those through. There it is, all done. It's not actually attached to this tree because this is our tree house, unfinished tree house. We don't want to share the tree too much with the squirrels, at least the interior of our tree house. But just to, for effect, before we actually mount it, just wanted to show it off. Has a nice little overhang, some shelves. We can put some seed on there, some nuts. You can see the shelf in there. And I think it's gonna be a nice little upgrade. Nice place to lay out and sun yourself. Throw a coat of paint on there perhaps. Let me know what you think. If you want the plans, I'd be happy to share them with you. I got to clean them up a little bit because it's a little rough around the edges, but if you're interested in the plans, I'll draw those up for you. Just comment and let me know what you think. What do you want to see next? You want to see me finish this tree house? I would love to see that, but I need some more subscribers, so hit that button. Now that I've got the squirrel house installed, I gotta make it a little enticing with some food. We'll just put it on the porch and wait for them to arrive. Make sure we get the good stuff. Okay? Some of it'll stay. Right now over here. That bird seed. Put it right up there. I don't know why they call it bird seed because it works perfectly good for squirrels as well and pretty good for humans. It's just, you gotta try it. And here is their new house installed wholly in the tree. And here is their old house that they can use as a stash house to keep their crack in, or their paraphernalia, or whatever squirrels like them do when their house breaks down. But yeah, that's all. That's all, folks. Tune in, like, and subscribe, and we'll do some more cool stuff to bring the animals in the yard with a milkshake. And that's all. Bye-bye.